So let's talk about AI. Is it about to kill the entire software industry, or is this just a massive, completely misunderstood opportunity? That's the huge question shaking up the market right now, and believe me, it is causing a full-blown panic among investors. Let's figure out what's really going on.
I mean, this idea is everywhere right now. The panic really comes down to this. AI can already whip up a pretty decent copy of a lot of apps with just a single prompt. And you gotta ask, if it can do that today, what's it gonna be capable of in a couple of years?
And look, this isn't just chatter. The market is reacting, and it is reacting violently. We're seeing major software stocks down over 50% from their highs. I mean, that's the fastest drop we've seen since the COVID crash back in March 2020. The fear is real.
So this is the real fear, right? Is AI the new internet? Is it another one of those business killers? We all saw what happened with video rental stores, with newspapers, with the yellow pages. They just vanished. So investors are freaking out, asking, is software next on the chopping block?
Okay, so to really understand what's going on, to find the actual risks, we have to cut through all the noise first. Right now, the market is panicking about 4 huge fears that, honestly, when you dig into them, they look pretty overblown. So let's break them down and separate what's real from what's just fear.
So here they are, the market's 4 horsemen of the software apocalypse. First, the idea that financial models will just collapse. Second, that every company will just start building their own software in-house. Third, a huge invasion of new AI-native startups. And fourth, these crippling token costs that'll just suck up all the profits. But let's take a look at the reality of each one. All right, fear number 1. The per-seat pricing model is dead. The logic goes like this. AI makes people way more efficient, so companies will need fewer employees, which means they'll pay for fewer software seats, and boom, revenue collapses. But come on, software companies have seen this movie before. Remember the jump from one-time licenses to monthly subscriptions? They adapted. Look, if a company's software saves you millions by letting you shrink your team, do you really think they're going to let you pay them less? No way. They're going to capture that value, probably by shifting to usage-based fees or big enterprise-wide deals.
Okay, on to fear number 2, the in-housing revolution. The idea here is that a company like, say, Nike will just tell an AI, hey, build me a perfect version of Salesforce, and then they can just stop paying for it. But that totally ignores how complex this stuff really is. Think about cloud computing. Any company could build its own data centers, but they don't. Why? Because it's a massive headache and it's not their core business. They'd rather just pay Amazon. Well, software is exactly the same. The constant maintenance, the integrations, the updates, it makes building it yourself a total non-starter for most companies.
Right, number 3, the fear of all these new AI startups. The argument is that they can build competing products overnight for next to nothing. And sure, AI definitely lowers the cost of R&D, but here's the thing. Building a business is so much more than just writing code. The big, established players, the incumbents, they have these huge advantages. We're talking established sales teams, brand trust that took decades to build, and massive customer support networks. A tiny startup might be able to clone QuickBooks on the cheap, but then they have the incredibly expensive problem of actually convincing millions of people to switch away from a tool that's already woven into the very fabric of their business. And finally, this so-called token risk. This is the fear that the AI model providers themselves, OpenAI, Anthropic, they'll become these gatekeepers and just jack up their prices, completely destroying software profit margins. But this thinking misses one crucial thing: competition. It's not just OpenAI. We've got Google, we've got Anthropic, we've got Meta's models. They are all fighting tooth and nail for market share. And all that competition, it's going to lead to commoditization. It'll keep prices in check and stop any one company from holding the entire industry hostage.
Okay, so if those 4 big fears are mostly noise, what should we actually be worried about? Where are the real risks? Well, the first one is a biggie, and it's not coming from some scrappy startup or from OpenAI. It's coming from inside the house. The real danger is that the software giants are about to go to war with each other.
Yeah, think about it. If AI makes coding easier for everyone, that includes the big guys. And for them, the walls that used to separate different software categories, they're just crumbling. All of a sudden, every major player has the incentive and now the ability to push into their competitors' turf. The race to become the one super platform that a business needs, well, that race has officially begun.
And this isn't some far-off theory. It's happening right now. Look at ServiceNow. They're the kings of IT service management, or ITSM. Now, they're jumping right into CRM, which is customer relationship management. And at the same time,
Salesforce, the undisputed giant of CRM, is building its own ITSM tools. And then you've got Microsoft, just using its massive productivity empire to attack both of them. See? The real war isn't against startups. It's a battle of titans, all fighting for total platform domination.
But there is one more risk, one final risk that is so big, so profound, it can make everything we just talked about completely irrelevant. This is the true, honest-to-goodness existential threat that's keeping people up at night, and that is the arrival of AGI.
So let's be super clear about what we mean by AGI. We are not talking about the AI we have today. AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence, sometimes called superintelligence, this is a hypothetical AI that is smarter than the collective intelligence of every human on Earth combined. It wouldn't need an app, it wouldn't need an interface, it could just directly access a database, perform any analysis, and complete any task you give it, flawlessly, all on its own.
Okay, let's not mince words here. This is the big one. If, and it's a big if, but if AI is ever truly achieved, it could just bypass the entire software industry as we know it. No more Salesforce, no more ServiceNow, no more Adobe. It could make the whole industry obsolete, literally overnight. This is the real, however distant, doomsday scenario.
So how in the world do you, as an investor, even begin to think about a risk this massive and this uncertain? I mean, when the market seems to be pricing in a potential apocalypse, do you just run for the hills? Or is this where the opportunity lies? For that, let's turn to a classic playbook for some guidance.
You know the line. It's probably Warren Buffett's most famous quote, and it feels like it was written for this exact moment. Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. And let me tell you, the software sector is absolutely drowning in fear right now. The big question is this the kind of fear that creates a once-in-a-generation buying opportunity?
And here's the core of the argument for why that opportunity might exist. Markets are notoriously terrible at pricing these binary, existential-type risks. Think about it. A risk like this is either a 0 or a 1. Either AGI happens and it wipes out the entire industry, a 0. Or it doesn't happen in any relevant time frame, in which case these stocks are incredibly cheap, a 1. Markets really struggle with that kind of all-or-nothing uncertainty, and what they often do is they over-discount the asset just because of the fear.
Let's look at a real-world example. Take Buffett's investment in the Washington Post back in the day. It's easy to forget what a massive risk that was. After they published the Pentagon Papers, the Nixon administration was literally trying to revoke their TV station licenses, which would have crippled the company. The market panicked and the stock got hammered. But Buffett, he made a bet. He bet on the resilience of American institutions over what he saw as a temporary political threat. And of course, he was right.
Or how about American Express during the salad oil scandal? A customer defaulted on a massive loan secured by, well, salad oil that didn't exist. It was a huge fraud, and it meant Amex was potentially on the hook for more than the entire company was worth. Bankruptcy was a very real possibility. The market freaked out. But Buffett dug in and realized the banks would probably rather take a smaller settlement than force a valuable partner like Amex into bankruptcy. Once again, he was betting against the market's panic over a binary, company-ending outcome, and he won. Big time.
And that all brings us right back to today. The fear of AGI wiping out software is very, very real. But then again, so is the risk to the Washington Post, and so is the risk to American Express. In both of those cases, the market panicked. It priced in a worst-case scenario that seemed plausible but wasn't a sure thing. So the multi-trillion-dollar question we're left with is this. Is the panic we're seeing today over AI just another echo of that? Is the market once again mispricing an existential threat, and in doing so, creating the next great investment opportunity? Well, that's the question you have to answer for yourself.